What if I told you that somewhere on Earth right now, scientists have created something that should not exist? Something that quietly breaks the laws of physics. Something so strange that even the people who built it are afraid to touch it because this object does not behave like matter, does not follow time, and does not even fully belong in our universe. And this is not a movie or a theory, but a classified experiment that went wrong and is now being studied behind locked doors as researchers race to understand what they have unleashed. Because it all began inside a government-funded laboratory where scientists were attempting to build a new kind of supermaterial designed to survive nuclear reactors and deep space travel. A substance stronger than steel but lighter than plastic, capable of storing massive amounts of energy. But during one late-night experiment, when a particle beam was fired into a specially engineered chamber, something unexpected happened. Instead of forming the stable crystal structure, they predicted the atoms began vibrating in strange patterns, collapsing and reforming faster than any instrument could track. And then suddenly the chamber went silent, as if sound itself had been swallowed. The temperature dropped, even though energy was still being pumped in. And at the center of the chamber, a small, dark shape appeared that did not reflect light the way normal matter does. And when one of the scientists tried to scan it, the data came back blank, as if the object was invisible to their machines, even though it was clearly there. And at first, they thought their sensors were malfunctioning, but when they brought in backup systems, those also failed to register the object properly. And when a robotic arm touched it, the metal arm bent slightly inward, as if gravity itself had changed around the surface. But when they removed the arm, it showed no damage. It should have been impossible, because the force applied should have crushed it. And the more they tested the object, the more terrifying it became, because heat did not affect it. Radiation passed through it without leaving a trace. And when energy was absorbed, it did not get warmer or brighter. It simply became more difficult to measure, as if the energy was disappearing into somewhere else. And one scientist whispered that it was behaving like a doorway rather than an object. And that idea terrified everyone in the room, because physics does not allow doorways to nowhere. Yet the data suggested that the object was not storing energy, but transferring it, leaking it out of our universe into something we could not detect. And when they tried to shut the experiment down, the object did not vanish. It remained stable and perfectly still, like it had always been there waiting. And the government immediately classified the project, removed all digital records, and brought in military scientists to evaluate whether the object could be weaponized, because if it could bend gravity and absorb energy, it could theoretically be used to disable satellites, shut down power grids, or even collapse structures from a distance. But the real fear was not what it could do, it was what it might become, because microscopic scans revealed that the internal structure of the object was slowly shifting, rearranging itself in patterns that resembled biological growth rather than crystalline formation, almost as if it were adapting to its environment. And some of the scientists quietly began calling it the Anomaly, because no existing scientific model could describe what it was. And when one researcher compared the math to theories of extra dimensions, the equations began to match in unsettling ways, suggesting that the object might not be made from matter as we understand it, but from something that exists between dimensions, something that slipped into our reality when the particle beam punched a hole in the fabric of space. And the idea that humans might have accidentally opened a crack in reality was so disturbing that several team members refused to continue working, but the project continued anyway, because the potential power was too valuable to ignore. And then something even stranger happened nearby. Electronics began malfunctioning when the object was active. Clocks desynchronized, and cameras recorded faint distortions in the air around it, as if the space itself was warping. And one night, when a security guard passed the chamber, he swore he heard a low humming sound coming from the object, even though there was no power running to it. And later recordings confirmed that a vibration was indeed present at a frequency too low for humans to hear. And physicists realized with horror that the object was generating its own energy field, something no known material can do without a power source, which meant it was not passive but active. And if it was active, then it was doing something, but no one knew what. And rumors spread that the object was communicating in a way we could not understand, sending signals through dimensions, the way radios send signals through space. And when they tried to isolate it in a vacuum chamber, the surrounding pressure still fluctuated, as if the object was interacting with the environment, even when physically sealed. And one scientist described it as trying to breathe. And that is when the fear truly set in, because if it was trying to breathe, then it was not just a thing, it was something. And suddenly the conversation changed from how to use it to how to contain it. Because if this anomaly could grow, adapt, and interact with reality, then it might not remain harmless forever, because history has shown that every powerful technology eventually escapes the hands of its creators. And this was not just technology. This was a new form of existence. And the final experiment before the lab was shut down revealed something even more disturbing when they exposed the anomaly to complex electromagnetic patterns. The internal structure began organizing into repeating shapes that looked eerily similar to neural networks, the same kind of structures that form in the human brain. And one scientist said in a trembling voice that it looked like the anomaly was building a way to think. And that was the moment the project was halted, the chamber sealed, and the facility locked down. But even now, the object still exists, hidden somewhere in a classified location, continuing to quietly change and evolve. And no one knows what it will become or what it might want. And the question that haunts every scientist who worked on the project is simple and terrifying. Did humanity just discover a new material, or did we accidentally create the first thing that does not belong in our universe? And if something from beyond reality has now learned how to exist, hear what happens when it decides it no longer wants to stay locked away. And that is why this story matters, because the greatest dangers are not the ones we can see coming, but the ones we create with our own curiosity, and then fail to understand until it is too late. So ask yourself this: if we open the door into another layer of reality, should we really expect that nothing would ever walk through it? And if something already has, are we ready for what comes next? Because somewhere behind sealed walls, this impossible object is still there, waiting, adapting, and quietly rewriting the rules of the universe. And now I want you to comment what you think this object really is. Like if this story blew your mind. And subscribe to AED ID. Because the most terrifying discoveries are the ones we don't understand.